a stronger movement by recognizing that there are no superheroes and no untouchable gods that are moving our agenda forward. There's only a team and a community to shared core values. Am I right? There's a place for everybody to be a leader in service of this vision. And Christina is a critical part of that. Am I right? Like, are we awake? Am I right? That's great. So look around you, right? Being progressive is not about being a sheep, okay? It's not. Being progressive is about being inclusive, being thoughtful, celebrating our diversity and our differences. Christina is not a cookie cutter, but she is exactly what we should expect from a progressive leader. She is compassionate, she is independent, she is full of purpose, and she knows what she's doing. So without further ado, I'd like to bring up our first two speakers today, Supervisor Jane Kim and Supervisor David Campos. Please welcome.
It's so great to see everyone out here today for Supervisor Olague. In January, when the mayor first made his public announcement that he was going to be appointing Christina Olague to the Board of Supervisors, I was thrilled. It was a big give on behalf of the mayor's office to actually appoint someone that he knew would not always agree with him during her first year in office. It was also important that he appointed a woman as well, which I know is one of his priorities, getting more women into leadership. I was already thrilled when Christina was appointed, but then when Christina started office, she far exceeded even my high expectations for her already. The vast majority of the work, as many of you know, on the Board of Supervisors is land use. And having Christina's expertise on planning has been an incredible resource for progressives on this board. We need to ensure that we not only have Christina's extensive expertise in planning on board, but also the progressive lens through which she advocates for affordable housing, tenant rights, and neighborhood development. We all know how important that is in our community. And we have that here currently. We need to keep that voice on the board. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Happy Monday. You know, it was a few months ago that I attended Christina's kickoff. I was proud to support Christina then, and I'm proud to continue to support her. I have known Christina for many years, and I know that much has been said in the last few months about Christina. But those of us who have worked with her know what's in her heart. And we know that she's a thoughtful person, and at the end of the day, calls it as she sees it. You know, the thing about being progressive is that, you know, we are a very passionate group of individuals. And the thing about progressives is that oftentimes we ourselves can be our own worst critics. The thing about Christina is that you may not agree with her on every single vote, but whether you agree with her on a vote or not, you have to respect where she's coming from, because you know that she has thought about it, you know that she has taken into consideration all the facts, and that based on her principles, she's going to do what she thinks is right. I sit right next to Christina at the Board of Supervisors, and I'm very proud to be able to do that. I have seen how she thinks, I have seen how she works, and I can tell you that her first priority is to make sure that the interests of every resident of District 5 are represented. So I want to continue to thank Mayor Lee for the fact that she appointed Christina Olague. She has been the independent person that we always knew she would be, and I'm proud to stand with her today.
All right, give it up again for Supervisor Kim and Supervisor Campos. All right, so we know that a progressive agenda requires strategy and action. Am I right? Yes. I'd like to bring up somebody who is incredibly strategic. Our fierce Board of Education Commissioner, Sandy Feuer. She's been holding it down for our community's priorities. Give it up for Sandy.
Hey, thanks for joining me out here today in support of Christina. I'm Sandra Feuer, and I'm on the Board of Education. And what I've learned is that you cannot be an education advocate without being a housing advocate. You cannot be an education advocate without being a local hire advocate. Christina has been holding it down for our working families, our 56,000 families of public school children. for all her time on the Planning Commission. She will hold it down for them when she's on our board for another 4 years. I am proud to support her as a fourth-generation San Franciscan. She is going to keep families here in San Francisco, those families that attend our public schools. She will be a strong supporter for our public schools too. So I am proud to support her, and I've supported her from the very beginning. Thank you for Christina.
I told you she was fierce. Okay, thank you, Commissioner Feuer. So now I'd like to introduce somebody very, very special. Someone who many refer to fondly as the last progressive mayor of San Francisco. Without further ado, I'd like to bring up Mayor Art Agnos to the podium to give his endorsement to Christina Olague.
Thank you very much. You know, when I was mayor, I looked as good as David Campos and John Avalos and all those guys. Look what happens after a period of time. I also want to thank the ancient gods of Mount Olympus for opening the sun to us and taking away the rain. And tonight, they're going to make sure the Giants win the 7th game. So today, I'm absolutely delighted to be joining all of you and Mayor Lee and the electeds who are here on the rostrum with me to endorse the election of Christina Olague as District Supervisor for District 5. I've learned in our conversations that we have much in common. We both learned to speak 2 languages at home. We were the first of our families to go to college, and we both came to San Francisco to find our way to serve the people that we care so much about. And most of all, we believe together that the test of government is not whether we can do more for those who already have a great deal, but whether we can do something for those who truly need it. History says that the people of District 5 have always had a district supervisor who will act when the neighborhood resident goes to the police department and is ignored. They've always had a supervisor who will make sure that no one gets treated better than anyone else because they don't have the right connections. They've always had a supervisor who has had the strength of character and principle to be secure, strong, and independent for their constituents and is no one else's loyal, automatic vote. That is Christina Olague. Christina, District 5 reflects a diversity of views and opinions on how to meet the challenges that our communities in San Francisco face. And it takes a supervisor who knows how to listen, to hear and respect those different views while working for a resolution and a solution that moves us forward. And the people of District 5 share a common set of values with all of San Francisco that says we are a stronger city when we open our arms wide to include everyone and work together to preserve the opportunity to find a home that is in good repair and affordable, to find work with dignity and equal pay, to live near good schools, to feel safe when you walk home at night, to use a bus you can depend on, and most of all, to be who you want to be with whomever you want to be it with. Now, every generation, I've met some of the new generation, every generation in San Francisco has shared that promise and have strengthened it and passed it on to the next generation. And they have resisted any challenge that would push aside people seeking to participate in the decisions that affect their lives and those of their community. Now, for some people, for the 1%, those who want to be the owners of this city, making those kinds of values your priority labels you a progressive, and therefore somebody who is a political threat. They are wrong. To be a progressive is to understand and believe that the best decisions for our city require the participation of all of us. All of us, no matter who we are, no matter where we live, and no matter how big our checkbook is. as with so many of us who have endorsed Christina, that progressive label says that she understands that fundamental truth. Christina Olague will speak and fight for constituents who can't take a 2-hour lunch to listen to a politician speak, or who cannot sit in a board hearing room for 4 hours waiting for their 2 minutes to summarize their concerns about their community. So when she is in those hearing rooms, when she is in those corporate rooms, or any kind of a room where her constituents cannot see or hear her, Christina will remember, as she always does, that her constituents come first and foremost with their values and their concerns, just as if they are in the room with her. That is her leadership commitment as a supervisor, as a planning commissioner before that, and a community organizer before that, working on all the issues we've heard about, tenant issues, land use, public safety, youth, and all of the things that are important to a San Franciscan in this city. After an absence of more than a decade, we now have a woman on the board who brings the unique perspective as a member of the LGBT community in the public service tradition, the former supervisors Carol Mignon, Roberta Achtenberg, Leslie Katz, and Susan Leal. Christina Olague, raised in a migrant labor camp, daughter of immigrants who worked their way through college, has never forgotten where she comes from. That's why I believe in her, and that's why I join all of you in endorsing her election to District 5. Thank you.
You need to give it up again. That was awesome. Thank you, Mayor Agnos, for putting your support behind somebody who we all really truly believe in. And just like we believe in Christina, we also understand that Christina comes from community organizing. She understands very deeply what it means to empower communities to act on their own behalf. And in that spirit, the next two supervisors that I want to introduce also come from a community organizing background. Please join me in giving a lot of love to Supervisor John Avalos and Supervisor Eric Marr.
I think Alicia just hit it on the head. This is about empowerment and building unity to support Christina Olague's re-election. I'm Eric Marr, coming all the way out from the Richmond district this morning to make sure that we're going to build a united front to make sure that Christina is re-elected. I've known Christina for 15 years, and she's been in the trenches for housing justice. Also, tremendous solidarity with the immigrant rights movement as well. She's unwavering in those places. I also wanted to say that Sandy Fewer, but also UESF Ken Trey and Alicia and others from City College know that she's about equity and social justice in our schools as well. Not only supporting after-school programs, but it's about really supporting our schools from community colleges of preschool for all to our K-12 system as we need it. I know that she's been out there for seniors and people with disabilities, working day to day with them, but building a stronger voice for tenants and for seniors and people with disabilities as well. So as a supervisor from the Richmond district, I'm here to support my colleague on the board to make sure that she's re-elected. Continue to build this progressive movement and unite to make sure we re-elect Christina Olague. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. It's not just that we have an extreme sports event happening across the way. It's much deeper than that. We live in a city of extremes. We live in a city with extreme differences between the haves and the have-nots. And we need elected officials who not just have a vision about voting the right way every time, but have a vision about building progressive power, building power of grassroots communities, communities of color, immigrant communities. That's where Christina comes from. That's where her heart is. And I've worked with her years, decades, on the effort to make sure that our communities can have a greater voice inside City Hall, inside state government, and beyond. That's what Christina's about. That's where she's come from. Rooted in the experience of migrant workers, rooted in the experience as a Latina woman, a rooted experience as a queer woman. These experiences drive her and dedicate her heart in the right direction. And that's why I'm supporting her and her work on the Board of Supervisors. It's taken a great deal of courage for Christina to be here on the Board of Supervisors, appointed by the mayor, and trying to assert her independence. It's taken great courage, and the results are dramatic. We have a gross receipts tax that's moving forward. It's revenue generating because Christina Olague had her name on it to make sure it would be revenue generating. That's just one aspect of what she's done. So much more to do with her in office. We need to make sure she wins. It's not just being here, but it's helping her to win in the weeks to come. Thank you very much.
Okay, that's the truth. Okay, next, without further ado, I'd like to bring up two people who are no strangers to serving in District 5. Lisa Feldstein and Quentin Mecki, both former District 5 candidates and dedicated community members, are also throwing down their support for Supervisor Olague.
Good morning, everybody. Is everyone ready to re-elect Christina Olague, Supervisor? So, I first met Christina about maybe 12 or 13 years ago in the Mission, when she was organizing around gentrification during the first .com boom. I trusted her work then, and I trust her work now. Having lived in District 5 for the last 15 years, I'd like to think I have a general sense of what happens in the district, in the neighborhood, and in our communities. And I'll be honest with you, there's been a lot of talk from a lot of candidates about this race. But I grew up learning one very particular thing, and that's actions speak louder than words. For 7 years on the Planning Commission, we didn't have to go to Christina and ask her to vote the right way. We knew she could vote the right way. 7 years she fought against gentrification. 7 years she fought for affordable housing. 7 years she fought for the community. That's a track record that goes beyond just words and loose talk. That's Christina Olague. That's who we're supporting for Supervisor. I'm proud to stand here today and give my endorsement to Christina. I think she's already done a fantastic job in her 9 months on the board, and I look forward to the next 4 years. Join us in supporting her.
Good morning, everybody. I'm here because I really trust Christina. And I'm ready to fight to ensure that she remains my supervisor in District 5. Are you all ready to fight with me? So I want to tell you why I trust Christina so much. I've worked with her for more than 10 years. And she comes from a place of integrity. She comes from a place of compassion. I know that I can trust Christina to do what's right, even if I don't agree with her. She's doing what's right. We have a lot in common in our backgrounds. We both grew up in low-income communities, and from our time in San Francisco, we have both struggled to ensure that women's voices are part of San Francisco's progressive discourse. I know I can always talk to her. I watched her take the seat on the Planning Commission and sit there with grace and thoughtfulness and have equity as her rationale for making the best decisions for all of the people of our city, not just District 5, but everybody who lives in San Francisco. And Christina inspires me to work harder. She inspires me to help our movement grow, to help our movement grow stronger. Women, people of color, and the queer community, people like me, are beautiful and essential in the work that we do to make San Francisco a place that continues to have a place for everyone. This is the time to raise our community up. Thank you.
That was the truth. Y'all need to give it up again for that one. One of the things that I really like about what Lisa just said is that Christina is somebody who has a great deal of integrity. And integrity is what Dr. Phil says is what you do when no one's watching. And that's important in a representative, right? It's not just about someone who does what's right when the cameras are rolling, but it's about someone you can depend on. So I'm here today to introduce a woman who I've long respected for her work in the community and on the Planning Commission. She has fought out of control development and displacement of our communities of color and our working class communities. She has sponsored legislation to end tenant harassment by landlords who game the system. She is the former co-chair of the Prop L campaign, which netted us the highest minimum wage in the country. Yeah, no, we need another one for that. It's hard living here in San Francisco. She has an unparalleled level of experience around planning issues, and she has been organizing diligently seniors and families for many, many years. You heard from so many people already, but I want to repeat it one more time. This is an extremely tight race, and it's not time to sit on the sidelines. Realtors and downtown development interests are backing her opponent and distorting the truth around her opponent's track record. But we know what the reality is. Christina has a progressive track record a mile long, and she is the hands-down clearest progressive choice on November 6th. Without further ado, please give it up for your next Supervisor of District 5 and your current Supervisor Christina Olague.
Go Giants! Anyway, I really want to thank all of you so much for coming together today. I wrote this speech yesterday anticipating rain, but hail to the sun while I'm at it. I am very humbled by the heartfelt words of my colleagues. Thank you especially to Mayor Art Agnos for your support. I am not the first to do this work, and I won't be the last. We will continue to struggle as a progressive movement, but this isn't about a cult of personality. It's about doing the work every day to make our community safer, stronger, and more sustainable. It's about raising up all the boats, prioritizing a long-term agenda, and building a movement that can weather any storm. I've been doing it for 20 years, folks, and I don't intend to stop that work. I am committed to working hard in service to the common good every day. It's already been such an honor to serve this city, and I want to thank Mayor Lee for the opportunity he's given me to represent what I think is the best district in the city, District 5. I know he didn't have to appoint me. I know that you guys don't have to support me, but you have, and I am very, very grateful to all of you. I'm going to need your help moving forward because it's neck and neck out there in the district. But I'm clear that the progressive voice is also alive and strong in District 5, and I will keep fighting for it to be heard until I'm blue in the face. Thank you for all of your support, and we'll see you in the streets and hopefully some of you on the phones. But please come out to District 5. We need to keep this seat progressive, and I truly and clearly am the most progressive candidate in the race. So let's keep it progressive.
So folks, what we would like to do is gather everyone around so we can take some photos of this beautiful coalition.